Brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, welcome to the broadcast. First, let us take a moment of silence for those that have passed since I've last spoken to you, and remember them. Our problems are not their problems anymore. Second, join me now in a short silent prayer for those beyond the reach of justice and mercy, and that they may find them swiftly. Now tonight, I want to talk about our places in the world. Far too often, when we're waxing philosophic about the state of the world and the state of the human race around a campfire, in between the occasional lead shower, people do not believe that they can change anything or make a difference. They say, "I am just one man, what can I do?" To be sure, no one man can change the world quickly or without great effort. But every single one of us is capable of being that difference, that shepherd, that lawman, that healer, that friend, the one person who made a difference. My friend Alexei was telling me recently about his view of the world as a game of chess, that each of us is a piece and we move according to our power, that soldiers like him are pawns that can be moved simply and their loss is regrettable, but ultimately necessary to defeat your opponent. He longs to be a man who makes a difference, like so many of us. I, for one, know that Alexei has been there for me when close friends have abandoned me. I know that Alexei was one of the voices urging me not to let my fire die. I know that some of his shots have been instrumental in our victories, without which more lives could be lost. Truly, we must never underestimate the difference one man can make. Take Rocket of the Brotherhood, for example. Rocket and I were brothers. Yes, we fought and argued, sometimes for theatrics, sometimes for genuine disagreements, but we cared about one another. I can tell you all with certainty in my heart, had Rocket not died that day, the world would in fact be a very different place. If Rocket had not died that day, the surviving brothers wouldn't have been emotionally compromised when they arrived at Devil's Castle. Agni may have been put down in those ruins regardless, but Goose certainly wouldn't have felt compelled to assassinate Shadow. Bravo wouldn't have killed Webb in retaliation of Brotherhood forces opening fire on members of the Alliance. There would have been no bitter fallout, and the Alliance would not have fractured that day and ultimately shatter. With our wartime alliance still whole, we could have gone against Darkest Midnight, or provided a more united front against the Gilligan Gang or the Takistani militia. The Brotherhood would still be whole. So much would change. It's hard to think about the difference. It's hard to think about the different world we would be in if that single man had not perished from this earth. But of course, many have. Many have considered the way that he was killed through giving a captured individual an opportunity by getting a little too close to the wrong person, and that it was the fault of mercy. You've taken from this man's death the lesson that mercy got Rocket killed, and so it has no place in the heart of a good soldier. That Rocket was wrong to have done that, and they say that they'll not make Rocket's mistake. As much as I wish he were here with us still, we must remember that Rocket took that chance. He was not an overly sentimental and emotional man. He was a hardened soldier and a formidable officer. Do we truly believe that Rocket didn't understand the risk? The truth is that Rocket had come to see the value in a message of justice and mercy. Rocket was not an impulsive man. Rocket made the choice, fully understanding what he was risking. And he chose to do it because he believed it was the right thing to do. There will always be an ache in my heart named Rocket, but I know that in the end, he had come to believe that it was worthwhile to show mercy. I implore those who I believe have taken the wrong lesson from his death to reconsider. Every man who fights in a war, righteously or unrighteously, knows that they may die. Men die in times of turmoil and war. The merciless and the merciful alike. It could have been any one of us that day. But it was Rocket this time. And Rocket believed it was the right thing to do. Shouldn't we take the lesson not from how Rocket was killed, but from what Rocket thought was worth dying for? One man, one woman, they can make all the difference in the world. Our presence or our absence, our mercy or our ruthlessness, our nobility or our savagery. Do not underestimate the difference that you can make by making the right choice. Good night, my brothers and sisters, my sons and daughters, and go with God.